started to wear it and she wouldn't take it off. So I like it. No one forced me to wear it.
Yes, of course. Women must wear the veil because we are all well-known feminists here. It is a matter of respect. I am totally committed to this for Islam. We know and listen to the preaching that the women must conform. Her hair must not show, her voice must not be loud. When a man comes home from work, he's tired and hungry and wants a shower.
If I were to change, I would find myself alone. I'd be the only one who's different.
For some Muslim women, the veil feels compulsory, but for others, it's a choice. It's a way of saying that Islam is the only ideal that will not fail you in the modern world. And that conviction is at the heart of the Islamic revival.
Can I move from the hijab to this, back to this revival as I described earlier on? Why did it happen? Is it political? Is it to do with globalization? What is it? Why did all this happen?
I think it has to do not with globalization, but rather with modernization. And modernity promised, and one of its assumptions was that religion would wither away, individual freedom will take place on massive scale, there will be no religious wars, there will be no war. But all the promises of modernity failed. So I think that there was a backlash somehow against modernity by different cultures. Islam is not unique, so you don't look to Islam as these weird people who are coming back to the religion, reveiling their women and doing some funny things. Actually, you'll find that across the globe and in all sorts of religions, that people want to be reasonable, modern, well-educated, but you want to raise your children to be pious and go to a church, a synagogue, a mosque. Actually, it's very striking that you ask those questions and you did not ask, can people really live without religion?
As the world changes, Islam's becoming more global, more vibrant, but also more divided. It's a battlefield between those who say their religion has to be reformed and those who say it must return to basics. This is no longer a war of ideas. What's at stake is the political destiny of the world's Muslims. And while Western sympathies may instinctively lie with the reformers, the prevailing wind seems to favor the conservatives. Just as Islam emerged from the Middle East, so too has the movement known as political Islam. It sees Islamic revival as a stepping stone to Islamic law and ultimately an Islamic state. It's all summed up in the slogan of the Muslim Brothers: Islam is the solution. The Brotherhood was founded in Egypt 80 years ago to halt the long decline of Muslim power. At various times it's opted for violence and is still linked to militant groups like Hamas. Today, the Brotherhood publicly embraces democracy. In the last Egyptian elections, its candidates won a fifth of all the seats in the parliament. Dr. Akram Shah is one of the rising stars of the Muslim Brotherhood and represents the city of Port Said in the Egyptian parliament. The secret to his success comes not from fighting Egypt's ruling elite, but creating an alternative to it on the margins of society.
Do you know everybody in Port Said?
No. Who can say this? This is a liar.
Yes.
I'm not a liar.
Where there's a need for a vital service, the Muslim Brothers often step in. This hospital in Port Said, for example, is funded by one of the Islamic charities directly linked to the Brotherhood. So this is, what is the MRI, is it?
Linear accelerator.
But this is very, very expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
How much would this cost, do you think?
About 10 or 11 million.
Wow. Dollars, US dollars?
Yeah.
Okay, it's about 6 million euro.
Exported from USA.
USA, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
USA. Made in USA.
In some parts of Port Said, Dr. Akram's power and patronage translate into political stardom. He brings us down the back alleys of his old neighbourhood to see the product of decades of neglect. Along with the poverty and chaos, we find an overwhelming desire to be listened to. And when the only one listening is a Muslim brother, Islam becomes the political solution.
Some people are living here. I think that some animals may refuse to live here.
I don't know, it's like halfway between cough mixture and small whiskey.
When we finally find a quiet place to talk to Dr. Akram, our government minders sit quietly in the background. Clearly the rise of the Muslim Brothers is a threat to Egypt's ruling elite. In fact, to its many critics, the Brotherhood is a threat to the very notion of democracy. What kind of state does it actually want? What civil rights and personal freedoms would be sacrificed in the name of Islam?
Do you believe in the same democracy that Tony Blair and George Bush believe in?
If the democracy of Blair or democracy of Bush says that homosexuality is prevailing and we will apply it, I think that Allah said against homosexuality. So this is a type of difference between democracy of Blair and the democracy of Islam.
Political Islam is on a roll. Just look at the victory of Hamas in the recent Palestinian elections. The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt eventually hopes to repeat that triumph. And through its worldwide network, it sees its influence spreading far beyond the Middle East.
Some in the West think if the Muslim Brothers are in power in Egypt, all women will have to wear the veil and the Sharia will control everything in life. How do you respond?
Islam is a message for all human beings, whether in the West or in the East. I think many people of the West who know well the message of Islam, I think many of them obey it.